Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is your man, Sam Hay, and you are listening to the Mindset Rebooted podcast. And if you are a first-time listener, thank you so much for stopping by. Here on the Mindset Rebooted podcast, we love to have conversations that help us to elevate the way we think. Essentially, we have old ways of thinking that have held us back in the past, and we like to take on new ways of thinking that help us to maximize our full potential and become the best versions of ourselves. Now, listen, when you are striving to be the best version of yourself, you need to beware of tall poppy syndrome, okay? Beware of tall poppy syndrome. That is a term that has been coined in Australia, and essentially what it's referring to is that the poppy flowers, typically when they're growing, we want to make sure that they're growing in uniform. And so if one is growing or growing taller than another, a lot of times you cut it down to size so that all of the poppy flowers can be uniformed. And in a very real sense, that's what happens with human nature. People become envious of you when you're doing well. People are going to notice that you are that tall poppy who is striving for greatness, who is quote unquote overachieving. And because you now stand tall above the rest, you are subject to being cut down to size. And we want to be aware of that. We want to be aware of it if we are the one who is striving for greatness, and we want to be aware of ourselves if we are actually projecting our insecurities onto others just because they're doing great things. But let's just look at it from the perspective of you're the person who's doing great things. You're gonna find that a lot of times the people that you have grown up around, maybe your own family and friends, they may look at your success as a threat. It's a threat, right? And a lot of times it's a threat to them because they feel that their own lives have been mediocre. They have grown up in the same situations that you have, and they've given themselves all of the excuses in the world, and you yourself have found a way to get past the excuses, to give yourself no option, to say, you know what, I am going to strive for greatness because I know I have within me what it takes to be better. I desire greater. And so I am going to find a way. I'm going to have that will to win. Not everyone has that. And some people, when they know where you came from, when they know you came from humble beginnings just as they did, they're expecting for you to do just as poorly as they did. Now, we all know that shouldn't be the mindset that we all have, but that is very common. And so if you find yourself in that situation, you might actually have guilt. You might feel a sense of guilt for being successful, or you might be feeling even like your own life may be threatened by people. And so in that situation, what I would personally do is change my environment. Now, that is not a blanket statement, and that's not just me trying to tell you like, hey, you should just run away from problems. That's not what this is referring to. When I say change your environment, I'm essentially saying that a lot of times the people who are suffering from the pessimistic side of the tall poppy syndrome, a lot of times they only mean you harm. And if you get caught up in an environment of people who only think that way, you yourself may slow down. You yourself may say, you know what, I shouldn't be achieving as much as I should be. You're gonna feel a sense of guilt. You might say, you know what, nah, I guess I'm really not worth it. You might change course, and that's very discouraging, right? And we don't want you to do that. So there's a saying, you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around. Well, really what that's referring to is that your circle can make or break you. You become your environment. You're a product of your environment. We've heard that before. And so if I am one of the poppy flowers that is tall, I don't want to be around the ones that are looking to cut me down to size. I want to be around the ones that are growing with me and the ones who are pushing me to continue to be as tall of a poppy I can be. That's right. I want to be as tall as I can be, and I want to be around others who are not afraid to grow with me, right? So that's just one thing. Now, let's just say you're someone who's on the pessimistic side of the house, the one who is looking to cut someone down to size because you're feeling inadequate. A lot of times we will project and blame these other people, and we'll try to talk about them and make it seem as though what they're doing is absolutely wrong. But in reality, what they're doing is right, and what we're doing is wrong. And we need to then look at ourselves and say, why am I giving myself so many excuses? I came up with hardships, so did everyone else around me. I get it. It's tough. But when am I going to change course? When am I going to actually take ownership of my situation and say, in spite of where I'm currently at in life, I am going to still strive for greater? When am I going to look to learn from other people? When am I going to look at that other tall poppy and grab him by the hand and be like, hey, can you teach me? What was it that you did right for yourself? When are you going to humble yourself and recognize that you don't have all of the answers, but there are people out there who do? And that you yourself can be successful and become a tall poppy, but you just have to be willing to put in the work. And the thing is, we don't believe that. A lot of us feel, because we've only seen everyone around us doing so poorly, that is our fate as well. Which my same advice would be for you: change your environment. Whether you're the one who's doing great or whether you're the one who's not doing great, change your environment if you can. Because again, if you get to see a different side of things, if you're able to see that, wow, there's more to life. There are people out there who are striving for greater. And I understand, let me just double back. Changing your environment, it may not be as feasible as, okay, I'm leaving from this town to this town. Nevertheless, even in, and I'm telling you this is definitely true, even in the current location that you're at, there are, because of technological advancements, because of social media groups, right? Because of all of those different things, there are people who you can reach out to right now, even globally, who would be able to get you on the right track, who, if you just tap in with them on the majority of your time and just continue to be around them and think like them and understand what they understand, you yourself will start to develop in such a way that your physical environment will not be the thing that holds you back from actually being as great as you can be. In life, we're going to give ourselves many excuses if we want to. But in reality, we need to give ourselves as little excuse as possible. We need to literally look ourselves in the mirror every single day and say, I am better than this. We need to not be bitter. We just need to be better. Don't be bitter, be better. That is the whole point of this conversation today. We need to beware of the tall poppy syndrome, because we are not meant to cut other people down to size. We are meant to build each other up, and we are meant to grow and continue to strive for greater. And we should look at those people who are doing greater than us as inspiration and learn from them, so that we too can be as great as we can be and maximize our full potential. Become the best versions of ourselves, as we talk about on this podcast every single time. That's all I got for today. If you got great value out of this content, make sure you share this with one other person so that they can get great value as well. My name is Sam Hay, and until next time, Mindset Rebooted. Sometimes when things go wrong, you can't blame life, cause when you shot your shot, what was your aim like? What were you targeting? Cause if it ain't right and you still go with it, then that is on you.